where we are in the Ponzi cycle of, if you want to call it central banking, because of where we are in the financial cycle, the fiscal cycle, all financial roads lead to gold. Buying gold and silver now will essentially end up, once this thing, once it burns to the ground, the people who own gold and silver will be literally individual banks, because they'll be the only ones who have money, because money is going to burn.
Despite recent fluctuations, gold prices have been trading near their highest levels since late November. Although the metal has pulled back nearly 5% from its all-time high of $2,789 in September, it remains up over 30% year-to-date, highlighting sustained investor and trader interest. The ongoing debt crises in major economies, including the US and China, erode confidence in fiat currencies, driving a notable shift toward gold as a safe haven asset. This trend underscores growing concerns about the fragility of the global financial system and the rising appeal of tangible, stable assets like gold. Bill Holter discussed the current economic landscape and shared his market predictions for 2025, expressing his belief that the global economy is approaching a pivotal moment. He argued that tangible assets like gold and silver would far surpass financialized assets in value. Holter stressed that individuals investing in gold and silver today are positioning themselves to become the individual banks of the future, as these tangible assets will be the only true form of money once the existing financial system collapses. Most major economies, including the US and China, are grappling with unsustainable debt levels, which are expected to erode the value of money in the future. Following the conclusion of China's top annual economic meeting, President Xi Jinping announced new fiscal and monetary policies aimed at stimulating growth. These measures include steps toward interest rate cuts and increased government borrowing. On Monday, December 9th, gold prices surged to a two-week high, fueled by China's central bank resuming gold purchases and the country's plans to implement additional economic stimulus measures. Holter views the current economic environment, characterized by global rate cuts and monetary easing, as a launchpad for gold and silver. He stated, "Gold has shown strong performance, and while silver has yet to match that momentum, I firmly believe it will eventually surpass gold in its gains." We're about to explore the video, but first, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon to keep up with our newest uploads.
Well, it's tangibles versus, the financialized assets. And I think that the happy table is going to be pretty sparse. I mean, let's say that there's 100 people in the room total. You might have 3 or 4 people at that table. And of the 3 or 4 people, only one bought gold or silver or had gold or silver. The people who are buying gold and silver now will essentially end up, once this thing, once it burns to the ground, the people who own gold and silver will be literally individual banks, because they'll be the only ones who have money, because money is going to burn. Currencies all across the globe are all fiat, which means they're all debt-based. And I've been on the record for probably 15 years now that the ending of this whole scenario would be a credit/currency crisis. It would start with credit, and currencies would collapse because they're currency backed, or they're debt backed. I believe that the credit markets are going to seize up, and when they seize up, nothing will work. I mean, we won't be able to do this interview. There won't be whatever platform you're using. The electricity will be spotty. Water will be spotty. Food in grocery stores will be non-existent. And I say that because how does food get to the store? Look at a loaf of bread. How many uses of credit does a loaf of bread have? Well, more than a dozen uses of credit for one loaf of bread. You've got the silos. You got the farmers, the truckers to the silo truckers again to the production facilities, and then truckers again to your local grocer. None of that's going to work if there's no credit. So that other table, there's not going to be any food on it. Now, by 2029, I would expect things to have started to reboot, and I'm not exactly sure what the system's going to look like, But sometime between now and 2029, that table is going to be empty, and uh, procurement of food is going to be number one on everyone's list every day.
According to the latest report from the World Gold Council, WGC, global interest rates are expected to continue their downward trend in 2025, providing a favorable environment for gold. However, the outlook for the precious metal as the new year approaches remains somewhat uncertain. Gold prices have surged to $2,700 an ounce, marking one of the most impressive rallies in decades. Sentiment around gold has shifted slightly compared to a year ago. At the start of 2024, investors were broadly optimistic about gold's prospects, driven by expectations of aggressive rate cuts from the Federal Reserve. Now, while the declining interest rate environment continues to act as a tailwind, the overall market mood has become more cautious. Holter predicts a major transformation in the global economic landscape, with gold playing a crucial role in backing currencies on a ratio basis. However, he remains skeptical about the possibility of direct convertibility between gold and currencies. Now let's redirect our attention to a video.
I absolutely believe that gold is going to back currencies on a ratio basis. I don't think gold will ever become, I don't think any currency anywhere on the planet will ever become directly convertible to gold. And the reason being, central banks have seen it time and time again. When their currency is convertible, it converts. People present the currency and they say, I want the gold. So I don't think in a complete system down scenario where we're in barter, where you would use gold to purchase big items, you would use silver to survive with, I don't think gold is going to transact as currency. But I do believe it will back currencies, again, on a ratio basis as opposed to convertibility basis. I think 2025 will be the year that something breaks. I think derivatives are going to blow up. I think it's game over. I mean, the average person, we'll say the average person on the right, believes that Trump is going to come in and fix everything. It's not fixable. It's mathematically not fixable. I mean, this year we're going to pay 1.5 trillion in interest alone. The debt is now 36 trillion. It only took 4 months for another trillion to be added on. The month of October and November, I think the number was something like a $600+ billion deficit. I think 2025 is going to be the year that something blows up, it spreads, markets collapse, and ultimately will be closed. I think we will have a closure of markets worldwide at some point, and that will usher in. Prices are skewed right now. I mean, if you look at the price of labor, you look at the price of capital, you look at the price of commodities, they're malpriced. They're not priced right. I mean, just look at silver versus gold, 85-1. That's way wrong. Look at interest rates. How is it possible that the United States pays the interest rates that it is currently paying with the risk of default, and default being defined as either non-payment or just printing the money and debasing the dollar to pay it? So I think, and I mean, look at the stock market. Stock markets are at levels not seen before on valuation levels. So I think there's going to be a reset, and prices. When I say reset, I'm talking about pricing.
The global economic landscape is on the brink of significant change, with rising debt levels and monetary easing in major economies, leading to a shift away from fiat currencies and toward tangible assets like gold and silver. As central banks grapple with unsustainable fiscal policies, gold is increasingly seen as a safe haven and a potential foundation for future currency systems, albeit in a ratio-backed capacity rather than direct convertibility. Do you think the future economic system will include gold-backed currencies? Or will it lean more towards digital currencies or a hybrid approach? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. If you found this content helpful, give it a thumbs up and remember to subscribe to stay updated. Thank you for being a part of this journey with us.